You open Instagram. 3 seconds later, something shifts. Not dramatically, just a quiet, almost invisible drop. You were fine before you opened the app. Now you are not quite as fine. Nothing bad happened. Nobody hurt you. You simply saw someone else's life. And somehow that was enough. That reaction is not a modern problem. It is not a symptom of insecurity. It is one of the oldest programs running inside your brain. And it has been running since long before Instagram existed. Long before social media. Long before any technology that let you see how you compared to others. The compulsion to compare yourself to other people is ancient. And understanding where it comes from might be the most clarifying thing you ever learn about yourself. To understand why you compare yourself to others, you have to understand the social world your brain was built for. For most of human evolutionary history, your ancestors did not live among strangers. They lived in small, tight groups. Groups of roughly 150 people. And in those groups where you stood relative to others was not a matter of ego. It was a matter of survival. Your position in the group determined how much food you received. It determined who protected you. It determined your access to resources, to mates, to safety. In that world, social comparison was not vanity. It was information gathering. It was your brain continuously scanning the social landscape and asking one urgent question. Where do I stand? David Buss, evolutionary psychologist at the University of Texas at Austin, spent decades studying how humans compete for social position. His research confirmed what evolutionary biologists had long suspected. Status is not something humans value arbitrarily. Status seeking is a deeply embedded survival mechanism. In ancestral environments, high-status individuals consistently had better outcomes across nearly every measure that mattered. Better nutrition, longer lifespans, more social protection. Your brain registered this across thousands of generations. And it built a monitoring system, a constant background social scanner that tracks your relative position. Not your absolute position, your relative position among the people around you. This is why comparison feels less like a choice and more like something that happens to you. Because in many ways it does. Psychologists call this tendency social comparison theory. Its foundation was laid by Leon Festinger at MIT in the 1950s. Festinger discovered something that still holds true today. Humans evaluate their own worth primarily by comparing themselves to others. Not by looking inward, not by measuring against objective standards. By comparing. Your brain does not know how to assess itself in isolation. It needs a reference point, and that reference point is always another person. The strangest part is not that comparison exists. The strangest part is who your brain chooses to compare you to. Research from social psychology consistently shows that your brain does not compare you to random people. It compares you to people it perceives as similar to you. People at roughly the same level. People in your immediate social environment. People just slightly ahead of you. In an ancestral tribe of 150 people, this made complete sense. Comparing yourself to someone far outside your group was useless information. But comparing yourself to the person in your camp who was slightly better at hunting than you, that was actionable. Here is the part most people never consider. That instinct to compare yourself to those just ahead of you was not designed to make you miserable. It was designed to motivate you. Psychologist Jonathan Haidt at New York University has written extensively about how social emotions like envy and admiration evolved as motivational systems. The discomfort you feel when you see someone doing better than you. That discomfort was functional. It was a signal. Try harder. Adjust your behavior. Gain more skills. The pain of upward comparison was not a punishment. It was an engine, an ancient system designed to push you toward greater capability. But here is what happens when that system runs in a modern environment. Your ancestors compared themselves to 150 people. The same 150 people every day. People they knew personally. People whose struggles they witnessed alongside their achievements. Now imagine what happens when that same comparison system gains access to 8 billion people. People who have been professionally photographed. People who share only their highlights. People whose lives appear curated and complete. Your ancient comparison system was never designed for this. It was built to gather useful social information from people you knew intimately. Instead, it is now processing a carefully selected performance of human life. And it responds the same way it always has. With urgency, with assessment, with the quiet, pressing question, where do I stand? Except now the answer almost always comes back the same way, behind. Robert Sapolsky, the neuroendocrinologist at Stanford University, found something striking. Perceiving yourself as lower in the social hierarchy, not actually being lower, but merely perceiving it, activates your stress response. Cortisol rises. Threat systems activate. Your nervous system responds as if something genuinely dangerous has happened. Because in evolutionary terms, it had. Falling behind in status was dangerous. Your nervous system still treats it that way, even when the comparison is to someone you have never met. Even when the comparison is to a curated photograph. The ancient system does not process those qualifications. It just sees the gap, and it responds. But here is the counterintuitive part. The part most people never reach. Your compulsion to compare yourself to others is not evidence of weakness. It is not evidence of insecurity. It is the operation of a monitoring system that helped your ancestors survive inside complex social hierarchies for hundreds of thousands of years. The problem is not that your brain compares. The problem is the environment it is now comparing inside. An environment of unlimited, curated, context-free human achievement. An environment where the reference points are no longer real people in full three-dimensional lives, but polished reflections of the moments those people chose to share. Your brain cannot fully tell the difference. So it compares, and compares, and the gap it perceives keeps widening. Not because you are falling behind, but because the inputs feeding your comparison system have changed beyond anything evolution anticipated. Research published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that upward social comparison produces two very different outcomes depending on one factor: whether you believe the gap is closable. If your brain perceives the person above you as reachable, comparison triggers motivation. Effort increases. The discomfort becomes fuel. But if your brain perceives the gap as permanent, comparison triggers despair. The discomfort becomes weight. In a tribal environment of 150 known people, your brain had an accurate sense of what was achievable. In a world of 8 billion curated highlight reels, that calibration breaks down. The gaps appear infinite. The achievements appear unreachable. And the ancient engine built to motivate becomes instead a source of persistent, low-level suffering. So the next time you open an app and feel that quiet drop, that almost invisible shift in how you feel about your own life, remember what is actually happening. Your brain is not being petty. It is not being shallow. It is not failing. It is running a program that helped your ancestors maintain their position inside the social structures that kept them alive. A program that scans the social landscape continuously, that asks where you stand relative to the people around you. The program is ancient. The inputs feeding it are new. And the world it is currently navigating is one it was never designed to make sense of. But the next time you feel it, that pull, that quiet comparison, that question your brain has been asking since before language existed, you will know exactly what it is. And perhaps just this once, you will know why.